Okay, we are online. Good morning, everyone. How are we today? Hopefully, well, I hope. Yes, it's very, very early today. Let's see. Are we online yet? Oh, my nose. Done. Okay. I don't see anybody getting online today. That's weird. Uh, huh? Yeah. Oh, my nose. All right. Yeah. All righty. So, anyone online at all? Not much. It's just a quiet morning. It's early. It's only 9:30 in the morning. I don't know. Let's see. XCOM. Let's see. All right. Okay. Right. All right. Oh, great. Yep. Huh. All right. Right. All right. Mm. I don't think anybody's around. No, unfortunately not. Slow today. Hmm. Yep. Maybe I should wait a little longer to broadcast? Yeah. Hmm. Okay. How we doing this morning, folks? I know it's early, but yeah, gotta get started at some point today. Yeah. So this. Ugh. Computer's glitching for some reason today. Hmm. Gaming. There we go. Kind of early, but yeah. Not seeing anybody responding or anything in chat today, but that's okay. It's early. Yeah. How we over on YouTube this morning? It's early, I know that. How you guys over on YouTube land? How about Rumble? In any case, CIG apparently released a new video over the last 10 hours. Some sort of new show or something that they're thinking of starting. I don't know what it portrays. Hey, Splatter Wolf! Greetings! Ah. Hi, watching from work 7 hours into a 10-hour shift. Yeah, I hear that, man. I hear that. Definitely. Cheers, man. Hope you have a safe day at work. That's for sure. Make sure to get through everything today and make sure you go home safe, all right? All right, let's get started, I think. Yeah. Where is this new video I've heard about? All right. Space move. Wow. All right, we're going to start with this. They haven't had an actual trailer, I believe. Yeah, they didn't do a trailer for 4.9, did they? I don't believe they did. No, they did not. Huh. They did 4.8 and then they didn't do 4.10. Okay, that's weird. They may have listened to me because I said something about them not having a trailer for 4.9, which is rather interesting that pops up when I say something about it. That's kind of funny. But okay, so we're gonna go window capture. There we go, and zip in. Where's the sound?
Ready to reset your expectations.
What the heck happened?
Ready to shift your perspective from the ordinary to the extraordinary. Ready to reset your expectations. Unforgettable. Looking to spend the day cloud hopping with the Stormwolves. Relaxing like French spa.
If only the gameplay was this fluid, I swear.
Breathtaking views, incredible dining. What are you waiting for? Breathtaking views. Crusader is calling. Come, visit the Orison of Orison.
Okay, that was a spooky trailer. Very spooky. And now we're going to do this one.
Basically, what we're building with Star Citizen is freedom.
4.10, the technology is brand new.
Instancing is complicated, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it.
What makes Star Citizen a unique experience is the fact that it's vast and it's open, it's a multi-system game.
So when we're trying to have instancing come on and be this seamless experience, that is a large technological challenge to undertake.
There's a lot of changes we had to do to the engine, which affect how the content is built.
But then instancing creates an opportunity to tell stories and make content for a certain aspect of Star Citizen.
Instancing is the first use case of us dynamically loading up servers for the simulation, and that's the first step to the fully dynamic server meshing, where that's the goal that we're moving towards.
In terms of how 4.10 compares to other releases, the learning and the understanding of how that technology will work within our universe has been the challenge.
I've always wanted to sort of get lost in a science fiction universe, and I want it to be fully immersive, and I wanted it to always be our point of view. So basically what we're building with Star Citizen is my kind of dream sandbox freeform game. You know, there's still obviously quite a few things to be finished off, but it's complicated, especially because we're building this huge sort of kind of connected world that has many, not just multiple servers to handle the simulation, but it also has multiple services to handle various things, like whether it's your wallet or missions also has a service, and there's a whole bunch of the economy will have a service, and so you have a lot of interconnected systems that are all sort of working together, and a lot of science fiction universe. And I want it to be
Sorry,
fully
chat. I'm
immersive.
backtracking to see what I can spot in the trailer. This bit to see if I notice anything in the background they're working on. And I think I just saw something. Okay. I don't recognize this ship bridge. Does anyone else? This is a new ship bridge, I think. Some people have said Constellation 5. We'll see.
There's still obviously quite a few things to be finished off, but it's complicated, especially because we're building this huge sort of kind of connected world that has many, not just multiple servers to handle the simulation, but also has multiple services to handle various things, like whether it's your wallet or missions also has a service, and there's a whole bunch of the economy.
Hold on. That planet.
Multiple servers to handle the simulation, but also has multiple services to handle various things, like whether it's your wallet or missions also has a server.
That's a new planet with rings. Is this Cascom? Look here, chat. This planet's not even on the roadmap. What is this? Look here. Is this Cascom? The ringed planet from Castra. Castra 2. In the process of being formed. Right here. This is a ringed, rocky-looking planet. Is this Cascom? Or is it just a test art? Let's see if we can zoom in. I don't know. I think this may actually be Cascom. Can anyone read any of the jargon on the screen here? At all? Like, I don't see what planet this is, but this is not in Stanton, Nix, or Pyro. This is a brand new planet. I've never seen this world before at all. It's got rings. It's looks like a rocky planet. I think this might be Cascom itself. So this is actively being worked on. Okay, moving on.
There's a whole bunch of the economy will have a service, and so you have a lot of interconnected systems that are all sort of working together, and a lot of the times the issues that we see are because of that complexity, and the rising challenge on Star Citizen is because the game has actually become more performant and has become more stable, and it's more persistent, and more people are playing it now than have played it ever. So every year we have more people join and more people play, and our concurrency gets higher and higher. And one of the things is you've just got a large group of people, and then when some things aren't working quite as well as they are, it can get frustrating, especially when you're sort of in for a longer term. But that is absolutely something that we're very focused on fixing and improving. One of the reasons why we're showing sort of a little behind the curtains, like we used to, I really felt like when we first came out in 2012 and we started the whole crowdfunding campaign, we were one of the very first people to say, hey, open development, it's not just we're going to do the crowdfunding and then close our doors and come back in X number of years when the game's finished. It's like, no, we're going to bring you along with the development. No one here enjoys the game breaking and not working. Everybody working on Star Citizen really cares about what they do, and they love what they do, and they want to make the best game possible. To build what we're doing and the tech in terms of having that seamless experience where it's all from your first person, you can walk in to a spaceship and fully interact with it properly, that has fully physicalized components, and then see a moon up in the sky and take off and fly towards it and land on it without any loading screen, and have all that level of detail and fidelity. That requires very, very, very specific and hard to write technology. It's why people haven't done it, and it takes a lot of effort and work and technical knowledge to do that. We're lucky to have a lot of incredible people on all the levels, on the creative level and the technical level, but it's still hard to do. But when it's there, it would be an experience like nothing else. I mean, I truly believe that why people are so passionate, on both sides of the thing, right? Like, it's because it does something that you don't normally get. And I also think that you sort of, a lot of times people sort of forget that's what, that, and they forget like all the things that have happened, the advancements.
Oh my God, there's the Kraken, y'all. The Kraken. Look at that. There she is. The Kraken.
If you step back from it all and you go, okay, look at all this stuff that's been built and it all works together. For me, that's like Star Citizen would be freedom.
410 is a unique challenge because it's been tied with technology and flagship content. Instancing is complicated, not necessarily because we're trying to reinvent what instancing is. It's to implement instancing into the Star Citizen code base and the game that we've made. And in any large technological challenge, the challenge there is trying to make sure that we're covering all of the broad elements that it's exposed to. Now, and that's not even to do with the content side of things. The content side of things actually makes it simpler because we know that we can guarantee that the players are going to come in at a specific area, they're going to work through the content in a specific manner. You know, we're able to control that and provide a more cinematic, that more curated experience. But it adds significantly more challenges on the technology side, where we've got lots of different people coming into a specific area and then they're all being instanced off. So marrying those two together and then trying to deliver it to a live service like Star Citizen is a significant challenge. Well, ultimately, the patch wasn't ready to go. And I think it's black and white. You know, we never want to release a patch into the wild that is in a position that we think the players are not going to enjoy.
The challenge of instancing has been an experience for all involved. But throughout that process, the core methodology has been, how do we create the best experience we can as we're developing this new technology? And that's always been the kind of like the guiding light that's seen us through. We develop an experience that we feel like would be tailored best to the instancing. And as that technology develops and as we test it, we course correct and we try and make great decisions to improve the gameplay as we go.
The teams on SC are just fundamentally super fans, right? They want it to be great, but it is a difficult project, right? Also the fact that we're shipping patches, like it starts from there, right? Like what we're in right now, every issue is rising up in priority. The turnaround time becomes hours, not weeks or sprints. That causes frustrations, but you know, this is a bit of the DNA of the project, is to build the AAA game in the open.
Many other MMOs have instancing already, and this is essentially our take on it. To do that, we have built a reimagined version of Siege of Horizon, which was designed from the ground up to be more Fireteam-sized cooperative experience, narratively driven, much more curated experience than the old Siege was.
So on the original Siege, it was very much an open world gameplay activity. Now this came with a lot of merits. It certainly felt like a Star Citizen experience. You could play with a lot of people, you saw a lot of other people, but it also came with a bit of chaos and a bit of unpredictability. So with instancing, we was allowed the opportunity to fix a few of those problems and then also increase the production value and integrate things that we've wanted to do in story design and mission design since the original. Even though you're in a separate instance from others, you're still in the overall game world. So what that means is the time of day is still the same time of day. Sometimes it might be daytime, sometimes it might be nighttime, but probably what will happen is if it starts at nighttime, it will become daytime, which is really cool because you feel that progression of time. And then when you go back to the social area, there's no time switch, it's one seamless experience. And I know that was very important from Chris from the get-go, is it is seamless. It's no trickery. You're still part of the game world, but we're just able to give you a very specific gameplay experience outside of an open world setting.
For me, Star Citizen should be like this wide, big, open church for everyone. So it doesn't, like, you don't have to be a PvP player, you don't have to be a PvE player. I mean, if you want to be mining or salvaging or ultimately farming or just hanging out, great. You should be able to do all those things and not be forced in any one thing. And there should be opportunities for players to do both those things without being forced into the other thing. So, like, for instance, the instancing is a good way for someone who wants to engage in PvE content to not be forced to do PvP content. And there'll be some other areas where we'll set up that are not instance, and that will be more like, okay, that's PvP. Like, so contested zones or something would be more like, okay, there could be cool loot in here, but there may be other players that can be getting in your way or shooting you or fighting you or whatever. For me, there should not be a win state.
This is
to
going to be
Star Citizen. It
interesting
really
going
is sort of a
forward.
life state, a universe that you can escape into and have as hours of fun by yourself or with your friends, and you should be able to partake and absorb content at your own pace.
So every patch comes with what I'd call a live support cost. And that live support cost is fixing all the issues that have been introduced by adding something new. So if you look at any piece of technology, if you took a single build from Star Citizen and you kept it in isolation and no one ever touched it, the bugs that are there would be there, but no other new bugs would exist. That's what you would have for eternity. But every time that we add something new, whether it's a new piece of content, a new feature, a new technology, it has this ripple effect across the rest of the project. And that ripple effect causes things that you don't necessarily have your focus on right now, that is breaks. So the challenge that we have is that the development team is focused on the new things, the new flagship content that's going into the game, but we need to rely on the test team and the production team and the live development team to evaluate the existing content, and anything that gets broken or degrades from the previous patch needs to then be raised up.
As we start to scale test the instancing technology and the content with it, we find a lot of issues that were difficult to predict in internal testing.
I am the SC Dev QA coordinator. We provide information from players, from playing the game or testing the game, to the developers. One of the main jobs we do is that we will take that information that comes from the issue council, and then we try to add as much context onto that, as much sort of detailed debug or code-based stuff that we can then hand it over to the devs and say, hey, this is what the players are seeing, and here's hopefully everything you need.
As a production team on Star Citizen, we're quite in tune with each other, so we know what's up and what's happening on the project. Right now, we're counting around 120 bugs to be resolved before we go live. So whatever issues are outstanding with your teams that are stuck in triage, please get them moving.
The bug where the instances collapsing on themselves got reopened.
Yeah, there was.
They're talking about it like it's a medical drama.
Yeah, there was an issue with the build that was deployed for this Mark Complete thing yesterday. Rich and Nathan worked on it together to fix it, and a new build got deployed, or made at least, possibly not deployed. So that'll need retesting today. There's a set of bugs that arise from the fact that you can QT or otherwise travel to a party member who is in an instance and like in a ship.
We deny if they're in an instance, we deny your ability to QT there? Or could we QT them to the nearest non-instance location?
In theory, we could. The repro steps are mostly QT to that person because that's the easiest way to do it. The fix for preventing you from doing that final hop of QT to the party member, one of our teams in CGP, they basically wired up the fact that somebody is in an instance. They've wired that to our existing invalid target flow. This is a perspective of the player who has a friend who's already in a Siege of Horizon instance. So they zoom in on Siege, they click on their friend, they route to it, and try to initiate the quantum travel. Now, it'll tell you can't. It tells you the target's in the instance. And the behavior here, the fact that it still calibrates, the fact that you can actually still attempt to initiate the quantum travel is consistent with with how the system works, basically, for when you have a target that's invalid. Once you get to this point, you would then need to know that you actually need to follow the mission flow to go to the correct place, to go to the elevator, to actually go into the instance.
We've got to make sure we're buttoning things down and getting things finished. right? Ensure that everything that is currently in is working as reliable as it can. Plan is to ship next week, Wednesday, if all goes well.
Right now, it's all about every day send a build out, verify performance, verify functionality, all overseeing everything from content to engineers because there's content changes that affect the technology. And so it's just a constant train of verification. I tend in these big features push to just be with the backers on Spectrum to talk about what their experience so that we can prioritize directly.
Live development comes with the advantages of live feedback. I read feedback. I'm on Spectrum, forums, Reddit, Discord, definitely YouTube, streaming, Twitch. I watch a lot of the feedback and I read a lot of the feedback. I absolutely leverage that feedback to help us shape the game. That's one of the advantages. We know that the players know the game better than anybody, and we want the players to give us that information so that we can shape the game. And we also have, Chris has a strong vision for where the product's going and where the game's going. And we ultimately have to marry that together to create that best experience. And that's a unique aspect of live development.
I think what we can start with is, what would you say is the prevailing sentiment in the community right now regarding 4.10?
I think there was initial cautious optimism towards it if we could fix some of the problems. Every day we look at what the top issues that came on issue council from the latest build, along with the top issues for all of the PTU overall.
But also know you guys, you kind of reach out actively to some community members. You like in the Discords, you're scrolling through Reddit and whatnot.
That's where players are, right? If they're playing through a session, they're going to be in the Discord with their friends, especially for a cooperative gameplay experience like this. And so when a problem first comes up, that's where the discussion is going to happen initially. And so to get ahead of that, we kind of need to be in those locations. In addition to just watching the Twitch streamers, right? We're always watching Twitch streamers go through this content, and we'll see them hit an issue live. And we just look at, okay, overall, is this something that players are making a lot of noise about? And then we'll bring that up as this is probably something we should fix, especially if it's new. And usually it is. If it's something they're making a lot of noise about, it's something new. I think performance is a bit of a weak point. I'm glad to see some of the focus we got in 4.10, so I'm hoping we can kind of turn that around.
Just found out that you can't even take out your helmet for the new heavy armor.
Every day when we go through these issues, there's some kind of problem that has been identified, and when fixed, may invalidate all these bugs.
Sure.
And we have to revalidate all these bugs.
Yes.
It's very time consuming.
Sure.
Like I have this one instancing. Oh, Respawn is completely broken. Oh yeah, we're gonna remove the SV. It will be fine. Wasn't fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that we're shooting silver bullets and they should be fixing everything. It's just very time consuming to revalidate all the bugs that we're seeing.
Right.
Because of one or two bugs getting fixed.
It's frustrating because it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And so that's why the everyday build is the way to build, observe, discuss, prioritize, fix. And so it's a churn. It's a big churn.
I think where 4.10 really stands out is these engine level sort of integrations and sort of technologies that come with a lot of, you might not see anything necessarily as a player, but very, very heavy testing cycle on it.
At the moment, we are testing with the community and finding new issues. Our primary objective is to stabilize the technology.
Well, the big thing that we as QA always have to overcome, and can't in many cases, is dealing with what happens when you put it out in front of players, what happens when you've got it in a live environment with 600 players on a server and thousands of processes happening concurrently. And something we get by putting a lot of content onto a new technology is that we're going to test it at its limit straight out of the gate. And that's actually a really good way to offset risk. If you push that down the road, underlying problems, like deep systemic problems with the technology, are going to get worse and worse.
When it goes to the PTU, it helps us out. But again, even in the PTU, we don't usually get enough people playing it in the PTU. We don't get enough concurrency. So that's one of the challenges right now. And 4.10, testing Siege of Arasan is like, we need to get more and more people so we're really filling up the shards and the instances and seeing what the strain is on the system.
The data we got was pretty damning. There's a lot of issues that we've witnessed with performance, desync, and other associated problems. One very common thread was NPC desync, and in general, it seemed like a wider range of desync issues.
We need to get a lot more precise with the word desync. So you're talking about he's shooting at you, but he's not aiming at you.
Yeah, like the reason I say desync is because to the naked eye, when you first look at it, it looks like it's AI desync, but obviously knowing that I'm on a 4-person server and the server was at a solid like 30 or whatever FPS, I know it can't be desync.
What we were hoping to get was clarity on what the remaining issues are, but in fact we found a lot more, and that's concerning.
Another core component of how we made Siege differently is the AI. So in the rest of Star Citizen, the AI is populated by what we call spawn closets. So these spawn closets will populate the game based on various rule sets. With instancing, what we can do is we can place those AI logically where we'd want them to be. So an example would be part of the map will have sniper positions. Previously, this would have been impossible because there's no spawn closets up there. So we can tailor a more of a paced combat engagement rule set. So it's less about fighting overwhelming numbers and more about creating combat scenarios which will feel fun to play through.
Getting in this morning, I was already aware that we had some outstanding issues with Mendo Ren. He was 100% accurate, and I think that we've had a lot of frustrations with it. And so we've gone in and we've tweaked some of the values and given it to QA to do a 4-man playtest, a 2-man playtest, and a solo run through trying to fight Mendo Ren. Now the important thing is to get it out to players.
Hey, Thorn.
For us with Siege, it's just been the volume of testing we've had to do with it. The iteration has been really rapid from development, and these big engine changes where we may need to retest absolutely everything and just make sure nothing is worse, because actually that's going to help performance over the long run. Now, we in QA will sometimes deal with 6-7 builds a day. What that brings is fantastic iterative testing, where we're getting the latest updates from developers. Hey, can you go check the fix for this bug right now? It's not quite worked in this way. Cool, we'll put it back in. Now here's the new one. The PTU gives us a more stable soak environment where we can leave things doing things over a longer period of time, which typically is difficult to do in QA. We have to bounce around between so many different things. Sometimes testers are moved between tasks 4 or 5 times a day to get onto the priorities.
I think what we're hoping is that what we'll deploy today will try to get more concurrency so we can test it, because really originally Siege of Arasin was meant to go in 4.9 and we took it out of 4.9 because it wasn't ready. It's in 4.10 and now we're running late on 4.10. Hopefully we'll get on the PTU and get enough people play it that it seems like it's in good shape, and then we can leave it on the weekend for people to hammer on it and let it soak.
I feel confident that everyone now is on the same page of what's left to be done. So I'm quite optimistic that we will get there.
With Siege, the progression is the player's group enters that instance and they automatically become enrolled into the mission. So the mission exists inside the instance. That is a process in which we was going for. In the future, we want to do things like the player accepts a mission, and then that then permeates through into the instance layout. So that mission might inform a dungeon layout, or it might inform the enemy types inside that instance. So in the future, the instancing will be done in a variety of different ways. Battaglia is also a new addition for 4.10, which is really cool. She is also part of an instance. She works in the same way that the instancing works for Siege. So you go through a elevator transition, then that then separates you into your own instance. And the reason why we wanted to do this for Battaglia is, again, we wanted to deliver a more prescribed scenario so that, you know, it's not filled with loads of other people, so that as you're having that interaction with the mission giver, it is contained and it's validated. In the future, again, we'll open this up to more players, or we'd have the concept of more social instanced areas, so it doesn't feel like you're just completely separated from the open world. But we made that decision for Battaglia just to prescribe that experience. And it's also kind of cool because we were able to do another mission giver again. So it's been a little while since we've been able to do a physical mission giver. So that's been awesome in terms of we've been able to tell a deeper story in Nyx. So as we've been slowly unveiling activities in Nyx, it's been very rewarding to see a deeper story arc be established and released.
One of the things that I've been looking at is the client performance. We're using our analytics that we capture and graphing that out so that we can see how performance is trending over time. We've been making steady improvements through analyzing some of the captures and actually finding areas where we're being a little bit less performant than we could be. And that's why we have this kind of gradual increase over time. We actually removed some of the sort of dev debug things that we have on in the frame that we need during development so that we can analyze memory usage, track down multi-threaded issues and stuff like that, but all of which come at a cost. And one of the last things that we do before we actually release a build is to turn some of those things off. And that's why you see that big jump there. That's when we turned off a bunch of stuff that we have on during dev, and we get a big performance increase. Because the build is now essentially more like it would be during when it's actually deployed for post-release.
On a performance front, it was challenging, but the improvements that we've seen over time and the work that QA have put in with developers to help refine that, where we've been taking performance data every single day. So whenever they put in a new optimization, they can compare the data to the previous day and go, ooh, we gained a microsecond here, or we gained a 10 frames over here or whatever, and they know where to lean in and push on it.
I'm Luc Gijsbertsen. I'm a lead environment artist here on the PU team. What makes Siege very special is that we get to really curate the player experience here. And it gives the opportunity to the environment teams to really highlight where the gameplay needs to happen, where the focus needs to go, and we really get to enhance the gameplay experience underneath it. So when it comes to optimization, it's rather complex because there's different parts of the game go either to the CPU or the GPU of the computer, and we need to make sure that we optimize that in the right way. One of the things that is very expensive to calculate on the GPU is refraction cost. So what we're trying to do is to find outliers that have these refraction issues. So what we can do is we can actually use console commands to find what is being expensive are decals. And there's no need for them to be transparent in that sense. So we can have a quick look to kind of see what is going on. I quickly sample the material to kind of figure out what is wrong. And then this should not be using forced transparency. And we have a look and we remove the forced transparency and mark it as a decal. Visually, no difference, but computing-wise, a lot cheaper.
So just to kind of bring us back to the state of the patch, we discussed 2 days ago what issues are left outstanding, and we were just discussing number one on that list in quite a lot of detail, which is good.
What's the current ETA of that fix going in? Is that going in today,
It is
tonight,
not going
tomorrow?
in today. Maybe if we're lucky, we get a hotfix build later for deployment, but that's not guaranteed. The other issue that we mentioned a few days ago was the instance heartbeats and player tracking, which caused a lot of instances to just vanish. Investigation is ongoing. When we have that fix in, we'll revalidate all these issues we found.
I do know that there's been a concerted push to improve performance that Carl's been leading, and that looks to me like it's actually been bearing some good fruit, which is good. But let's get lots of people on tonight.
Final thing to say is that we're currently working on a community post to share the results of this endeavor so everyone understands the effort to investigate these issues, to fix them, and what it should mean for them.
So it looks like we're in good shape for going live next week.
As long as Clive gets his fix in, we have everything we need to make this shippable. Then it's just like, how high is the quality bar? We know that there's 1 or 2 issues remaining that need to get fixed, but we want to make sure that we don't get caught off guard last minute by any critical issues. So monitoring and observing players all time, 24/7 is critical at this point.
There is one outstanding issue that was raised last night in the meeting. That issue you're saying there's been a fix been put in, and it's going through testing right now. And hopefully, if that gets tested, is that going to get in tonight's PTU?
I would be surprised.
Okay, but let's.
Right, yeah,
But
let's wait for the.
it can go in. We should be good for tomorrow to go in. Yes. And then if that holds,
I love corporate drama, don't you
We had
guys?
a very clear vision of what it was that we wanted to do with this technology, and we knew that we would have some challenges integrating this with the engine as a whole. We knew that we were going to have a period of hardening the tech and how it integrated with the game. That's essentially what we've been through, and I think we're almost there, basically there, let's say. I don't know why, but I feel so much more nervous today. It's weird, like I almost can't speak properly. It's like I've got a frog in my throat.
But you did great last time.
I know, and I enjoy doing this kind of thing. It's bizarre. It's not been easy, but I guess nothing worth doing is easy. Yeah.
My name is Eric Green. I'm the Director of Publishing Operations. So if we're saying that we're going for, say, a Wednesday release, which we try to do, we like to use essentially what was this past weekend as a soak weekend. And so this is kind of like our last effort and attempt that we can afford to kind of learn some of that information before it goes to live. By Tuesday evening, we can hand that off to QA. So just making sure the environment appears to be working as intended. And so we're good to go. And if everything's good, we, hit the button, the magical red button somewhere that launches it, right?
Welcome back, everybody, to another sit rep. There were 2 issues really that we were trying.
I'm going to
get
say
fixed
some
before we kick our
things
release candidate.
about
The
this
core game
here in a
experience
moment
4.10,
when this
regardless
video
of
wraps up,
Siege, as
Thorn.
far as
Hold
I've
on.
been told, an experience is better than 4.9 or 4.8.
Yes, across the board.
The patch notes are
Yes.
massive. Like there's so many things fixed.
Top level fixes, so that's in a good place to be. Obviously, we want to be better than where we are, even so. Why don't we get this change resolved now? Let's chase this fix from Alejandro from testing, and let's pull the trigger.
I think it's basically go time. Like we had a very successful PTU at the weekend. The tech seems to have stabilized. Any critical or blocking issues that we've had to this point, we're not seeing anymore. So yeah, we're ready to go. Later today, we'll press the button and it'll go live to players.
One thing that I've always said to the directors I work with or the teams, I actually called up someone recently and had this conversation, is I try and stay in the middle. So when we have an amazing patch and people are really excited about it and they're having loads of fun, try and stay in the middle, and vice versa. When we have a patch that doesn't do as well as we'd hoped, then again, you don't want to be in the doldrums. You need to be in the middle. You need to be pragmatic and keep moving forward, because live development is an ongoing process. It's a continual development process that is difficult. It's a lot different challenge compared to just standard game development where you're working in isolation and then you release the game at the end. But I think the way I cope with it and the way I give the advice to the other team members is just always try and stay in the middle.
One of the things I've always been able to do in every game that I've made is when I start out to make it before everything's there, I can see the game. So that was the case when I made Wing Commander. It's been the case I've made pretty much all the games. I can see it in my mind, and then I think my talent has been able to deliver the vision I have in my mind. Sometimes it takes longer than other times, especially as things get bigger and more complicated. But the vision for Star Citizen and the immersive universe that I think it can be when it's all said and done. And we've got those rough edges, you know, polished, and we've got the content that's there that will sort of put you in, and the ability for people to do all the different things they want to do and do it well. You know, I think it'll be huge. My goal is just keep on swimming like Dory. We're just going to keep on swimming, getting out there, trying to improve, build after build. Ultimately, we're moving towards that end goal and that vision of making this incredible, immersive, seamless universe.
Sorry, I'm muted. Okay. That was a lovely presentation, but as Thorn pointed out, I think they did this to help give some positive feedback after all the negative things that happened. Yes, and I spotted some things, Thorn, that were in the background that need to be addressed. Some people have pointed them out. One of them being the Constellation Mark V's bridge. The Connie Mark V bridge. It was shown. I saw a planet I don't recognize. Like I was saying to a couple of other people earlier, I think it's Castra 2. A ringed rocky planet being worked on. It was probably Castra 2. In some form of gray or white box. I'm going to assume gray, because it looked pretty far along. With a large, dense ring system. The Kraken was shown off. You missed that, Thorn. The Kraken in all its glory. It was a sight to behold, too. So they are in some deep work on stuff. But yes, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. There has been some definitive radio silence from CIG that has not helped matters over the last few months. I think it'll probably be ILW next year, Thorn. If it's still in gray box, I think it'll probably be ILW. It looked like it was still in the process of being worked on, the life being breathed into it. So it's probably not ready yet for players. You think that's a fair guess? Yeah. But we could be wrong. The Kraken being in any form of development the way it is surprising. It looked done. Hang on, let me see if I can pull up that area of the video where it was shown. I'm going to pull it up again, the video, and we're going to flip through it to the specific points that I'll see if you think this is Castra Because it doesn't look like a planet in Stanton. Or anywhere else, really.
Basically, what we're building with Star Citizen is freedom.
Hold on. Yeah, no worries. I'm just showing you what I'm just flipping through it. Don't worry. Oops. No character. What the heck? There we go. All right.
And they love take off and fly to what require sort of incredible again. And I also think that this is because of as we're building this huge sort of service wallets and to get off. A
lot of people missed it.
But that's one of the first, the whole craft element in the game. Love it. Take off and tell for cards and technical.
Hold on. Somewhere around 4 minutes.
It isn't work at all. It can be
technology and what instances they can provide significant release.
In process, the core methodology.
It's back here where Chris was first talking.
Longer term, but that is absolutely something that we're very focused on fixing and improving.
Where were you? Okay. It was somewhere near the very start, Thorn. Somewhere near, like, the absolute very start. I don't remember where, so I'm going to have to look later. But I'll take a screenshot and post it. It's a rather dramatic ring system. So, yeah. It's definitely a interesting situation. It's either Cascom or the color of it, it's bluish, could be Odin 4, which is an odd thing to see. Why would it be Odin? Squadron related, maybe? I don't know. Odin 4 is a gas giant with rings. Thorn, you know? We've had the pictures of Odin 4 for a while. So that's why I'm kind of confused what planet it is. Let me see. Could be either or of them. Yeah, if it's Odin 4, that means they've already finished Castra and they've moved on to Odin as System 6. Well, that means Terra's done. Already done. Which, that's alarming. That means we're going to get a mega patch or something. Like a huge patch, yeah. What was I looking at? Oh, RSI. By the way, some bookkeeping to do before I wrap up this early stream. Check your account, Thorn, if you're a LTI member. I got something to show you. If you are a concierge member, you earn the Chairman's Club coin last night for free. See? Chairman's Club coin and coin case. Also, we have some new products. So go to shop, and I'm also going to cover something else too in here in a minute too. But no. Standalone ships. I actually like the Stingray, despite what people say. I like the look of it for a medium heavy fighter. It's kind of cool looking. Now, is it 100% my cup of tea? No, but it is kind of cool. It definitely is Kruger. You know, Kruger in design. There it is. This is what I'm buying when I get paid. Stingray plus Marina paint. Look at that gold, man. Yeah, look at this. And it comes with a free flight suit. I like the flight suit. Look at that. That black and beige colored flight suit. That's my favorite thing about the setup. I love that flight suit. Did you get the flight suit with the CCU, Thorn? Because that's a slick looking flight suit. No? I tell you what, I'll get you one, my friend. It shall be for free. Trust me. Oh, you bought it separately. That's fine. Oh. I think I'm going to buy some of these up too. I do like that Marina paint. That's a cool color. Yeah. So what else is there? Oh yeah, that's right. The monthly update, the weekly update. Also, don't forget, probably the last week and a half of this, the Steel Tech bundle. If you like the Trumpy Stumpy suit, the one with the big gun, I want this when I get paid. Dink. The Rough 'em, Tough 'em Warrior. But before I go any further, we need to go to not Spectrum. Okay. What am I looking for? Oh. Roadmap Roundup. That's what we want. Right. So for 410, we got Mission Giver Betagilly, the Super Heavy Combat Bull 4H, H4, Instancing Siege of Orison, Fuel Tanks and Consumption Rebalance, New Wicklow Offerings, Apocalypse Arms Vendetta Heavy Machine Gun, Hebeti Gunworks Arlington Lever Action Rifle, the new weapon attachments Hebeti Works Size 2 Optic, and we also have the Kruger Stingray. Implementing Kruger's first medium fighter. Item loadout improvements has been moved to 4.11. Now, 4.11 includes, in addition to Nyx 1, we now get the full system. Nyx 2, with a high-pressure atmosphere and high temperatures, dense with thick clouds. Nyx 2 is an inhospitable planet where protective gear is recommended. While some resources dot the surface, the risk involved in harvesting them has left the planet almost void of commercial development. Nyx 3 is an ice giant that lacks a breathable atmosphere and is considered a difficult candidate for expansive commercial resource extraction. Both these cards are tentative at the moment. Yeah, oh, whoops. Yeah, okay. Item recovery loadout, ASD Model K2 DRM, designated rifle. It's a versatile energy rifle. Lightning Bolt, Company Skarnov assault rifle. And the existing heavy combat armor also got its name, the Monolith. So, we have some interesting stuff coming out. Yep. So, it's looking like 4.11 is going to be the big end of the year patch so far this year. Hopefully we get everything in it. I hope. Yeah. We should, but there's always the offhand chance we don't. So. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Thorn Buddy, I want to thank you for tuning in today. It's been super quiet today, but unfortunately I might have to get off here in a bit before I do some book work for my college classes this afternoon. I'm going to be back on later this afternoon. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I unfortunately have classes that I have to do some preemptive work on. Otherwise, my grade goes. You know it is. You have to stay up on stuff. Yeah, I started a new file on darn it. I started a new file on Humble, which is a water planet, or was at one time. It's barely reached rain, so it's still very primitive and early, but it's moving along. So it's a different planet, so yeah. We'll try that later tonight. So, let me get some work done and I'll pop back in here later, okay? I'll see you later. Oh, the Toxic Planet's still going. Toxic Planet's still going on. I have it saved right now. I just reached kind of a stalled point at the moment. Got to figure out how to get it to move a little bit quicker. Yeah. No worries. In any case, I got to get my book work done or my professors are going to have my ass. Ah, dang it. See you in a bit.